Papillon IV, I'm going to just read the back of the book to you first, and then I'll break it down a bit. In the village of Nike, more than 1,000 years in the future, a youngster named Ao is in trouble. She can't stop fighting with her youngest sibling. So the elders make a bold decision to send her off to study with the mysterious entity known as Odom. Once Ao arrives in Odom's library, she is presented with 10 strange tales having to do with the great initiative of ancient Earth. Humanity wants to clean up the planet by shipping all of its excess waste into space on the back of a recently derelict Ark spacecraft. What the people of Earth don't realize is the effect this payload will have on the alien race of an unknown world. A space opera unlike anything you've read before, these are the collected tales of Papillon IV.
Everybody, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. Now, if you write a book, you get to come on the show. Write another book, you come back. You write a third book, well, you pretty well own the show by now. You get to come back a third time, and CB is here again. Like, how lucky am I to have the same author back for a third time? If you want to check out episode 267, CB's here. Episode 478, CB's here. And today's episode, he's back again. Another book, another conversation around what he's doing as an author. I'm excited to have him back. CB, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter.
Thanks, Dave. It's good to be back again.
Geez, have you had enough of me by now? You want to keep coming back? This is great.
Oh, I mean, absolutely not. I want to be on this show all the time. In fact, Maddie and I were talking about coming up to Canada and grabbing lunch with you sometime.
Come on. Don't threaten me with a good time. Come on. I love it. That's great. That'd be awesome. Oh, yeah, we show you around here in Niagara Falls, Big Hill. Lots of water. Don't want to spoil it for you. But, yeah, it's a really cool place. I think you'd love it. You might want to stay. I don't know. Things are happening in the U.S.
You know what? You're right.
You just might want to hang out up here for a little while till everything settles down.
And, of course, I'm here in the L.A. area, of course. So.
Oh, my Lord. Okay, well, see, now, yeah, you guys are a little noisy over there. We just want to say, as your neighbors to the north, it's a little noisy down there. You might want to keep it down a little bit. I'm just going to say, okay? You guys are doing okay, though. You're safe. Everything's fine. Mm-hmm. You're good. Okay, good. That's the main thing. Awesome. So you're back. So either I've done something right to have you come back 3 times now, or you just won't stop writing. One of the two, right? Or maybe both, right?
I'd say it's both.
Okay, good. Good. So catch us up. Let's go back again. Episode 267 was for your first book. Episode 478 was your second book. Remind people, if this is the first time meeting you, they've got 2 other episodes to hear, but take us back to the other 2 books. Remind us of what you've done in the past, and then kind of want to jump into today and talk about what's new.
Awesome. Yeah. My first novel, The Ancient Ones, came out a couple years ago, and I came on the show with Dave. That is an ancient alien story. It's about a young girl who escapes into the wilderness after her tribe is attacked by a rival clan. She meets an ancient alien while she's out there. They learn to communicate through music, and they go back to try to save her people. And there's like a lot of big action, big set pieces, monolithic structures. It's just a cool action piece in the style of like Princess Mononoke, but I always go back to like that one is Stargate meets Apocalypto. Yeah, so that's the first one. Then the second one is called Connectivity, which came out last year, not that long ago actually, December. And in Connectivity, it tells the story of a single mother named Seti Navan who's rising through the ranks of something called the gaming class. This is like a dystopian future where society has gone underground into corpocracies that are just trying to deal with the climate crisis. And as she's rising through the ranks of the gaming class, which is people playing video games that actively impact the world around them, she's also struggling to communicate with her son, JC, and a coworker provides her with a program called Connectivity that she thinks might help the single mother to better communicate with her son. My comps for that are the film Her. What's a good one that's more recent is Severance, the TV series. Yeah. And Ender's Game. Now,
that's good perspective for everybody. I like. Actually, I'll point that out for a second. that as authors, you actually need to have something comparable to
Mhm.
give some people a point of reference, right? That's something that authors do, right?
Mhm.
Can you explain that a little bit before we go much further? Because I don't think a lot of people as readers understand maybe the process that you and your publisher work through as far as some coming up with something comparable to what you're writing.
Yeah. So the more that I've gone around and tried to be selling these novels, the more that I've seen people just genuinely require that little bit of extra to recognize what the vibes are going to be, what like
Yeah.
what they've watched or read in the past. That's going to be going to make them like, oh, this is something that I want to experience. Um, I guess the way that I've come around to the comps has been kind of natural because I used to pitch for film, and when I was pitching for film, that was always required. So
Okay.
it makes perfect sense to do it as a book, but it's a probably a good move as an author in general, just to be always thinking about what are those comps, because there's always new things coming out, and if something comes out that's a little comparable in the first place, then you might get somebody's ear that you wouldn't have in the first place. It's that's a tough road too, because like pitching in general to to agents, to publishing companies, to or just to the person that you're specifically trying to sell it to. Um, it requires a bit of tact and a bit of I guess like fun and joy. You've got to put the experience into their ear.
Yeah, I do it with music,
Mm.
right? I'll like a band, and I'm like, "Oh, CB, you got to check out this band." And usually, what I'm going to get back from someone like you is like, "Well, what do they sound like?" Well, they're like Van Halen and Beyonce. It's like mash them up, like it's kind of like that. You're like, "Wow, that's a weird combo."
I wonder what that would
But
be like.
right, yeah, I know. I just kind of made that up. But you kind of give a point of reference for somebody so they can kind of go, oh, it's kind of like that. Oh, okay. Now I understand kind of the tone and the style of
Hmm.
the music, the book, the movie, whatever. Right? I like it's a good lesson. I think authors should be thinking about that when they're writing too, a little bit.
Hmm.
Are these influences as well for you as an author, or do you just do this after the fact and you're like, well, I feel like my book is kind of like this?
For the ancient ones, that comp that I keep using, the Stargate with Apocalypto, 100% influenced me to begin with, and then the story took a life of its own. That's how the Mononoke thing came about. But
Okay.
connectivity, not at all. I had to like really rack my brain about the comps for a little while, and then they came naturally after it was finished. It was like talking to buddies who had read the book, had some concept of what I was doing, uh, threw some in my way. I think Severance, I honestly wouldn't have made the comparison, but once I heard it, I'm like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Um, then for my new book, I'm still working on the comps, but there's at least one that, yeah, certainly one book in particular that affected my way of thinking about how I could write it. So that's an Isaac Asimov novel. It's called The Gods Themselves, and it's like
Mm.
broken up into three sections. And in the middle section of it, there's this incredible like turn where you're dealing with an alien species instead of the people. You get people on the bookends of it, but in the middle is an alien species, and they just everything about the way that they operate, without it's an older book, but like without giving too much away, it's just not how humans would deal with it. And there's like as Asimov is uh, frequent to do, there's this big aha in the middle of that section that's like, oh well, this is really cool, like so that helped me to do this new book a bit, but I still don't know what the other comps are going to be for it. I got to figure the pitch out in that way for the. I haven't told you what this is called yet, so I'm gonna.
No.
This novel is called Papillon IV.
Okay.
Papillon means butterfly in French.
Nice.
Papillon 4, I'm going to just read the back of the book to you first, and then I'll
Sure.
break it down a bit. In the village of Nike, more than 1,000 years in the future, a youngster named Ao is in trouble. She can't stop fighting with her youngest sibling, so the elders make a bold decision to send her off to study with the mysterious entity known as Odom. Once Ao arrives in Odom's library, she is presented with 10 strange tales having to do with a great initiative of ancient Earth. Humanity wants to clean up the planet by shipping all of its excess waste into space on the back of a recently derelict Ark spacecraft. What the people of Earth don't realize is the effect this payload will have on the alien race of an unknown world. A space opera unlike anything you've read before, these are the collected tales of Papillon IV.
I can tell that those are your words because you say them with such confidence and it sounds great. I love when an author reads anything to me from their books or the back of the cover or whatever, because like there's only you can read it that way. I can't, like when I read it, I'm hearing it in my own head, right? But when it comes right from the author, I thoroughly enjoy that as well. That's really cool. The book comes out in August, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. August
Now,
5th. That's actually my birthday.
that's not significant at all. That's amazing. No, I like that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a great idea, actually. I heard somebody say they got married on the husband's birthday so that he would never forget their wedding date. And I'm like, oh, that's smart. I like that. That's good planning. Because, us guys were like, what day was that again? Yeah, okay, yeah. But that was pretty smart. So I like that you've got your book coming out on that date. What are some of your early responses from readers, and what are you hearing about the book so far that was kind of like well, I didn't really anticipate that response. Anything that you've heard from readers?
Oh man, okay. So in the sci-fi community, I guess it feels a little bit fun because I probably have pushed to get more ARC readers for this than for other novels. ARC advanced reader copy or review copies, advanced review copies. So advanced review copy readers for this novel than the ones in the past. Just I found a service that was able to help me a little bit, and I found some more people to do it. But the people that have read it up to this point, they've been very excited. And what's really cool is the notes that they have primarily are like, it's good sci-fi. All the science in it is really great. The story keeps you going, and you're really excited about what is happening with the different characters and the way the world develops, like the universe develops. But sometimes there's a note in the middle of that. I had one reviewer that was like, well, you see, there's this trash that's going through space. And I don't know, unless there was some kind of warp drive system that's not spoken about in the book, if that trash would continue to stay in a straight line or if it would spread away into. And it's like, okay, you get the minutia of it, and it's like, well, I mean, there's a fable-esque quality to it at the same time. So I don't know. I definitely took liberties. You've seen the film Gravity, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So there's a thing that happens to one of the main characters in Gravity where like the force, the G forces are pushing them away from another character, and it's like that's not actually how space works. But the audience accepts it because the moment is dramatic, And it's like so in the sci-fi world, it's like maybe that's my one vice in this novel is the dealing with the trash path in space, which is kind of the heart of the story, to be honest. So
so when you get that kind of feedback from that ARC reader, would you technically call that trash talk? Yes, right?
That's
okay,
funny,
well, that's
David.
a freebie.
That's
a freebie. You don't have to give me any money for that. That was completely for free. Yeah, well, I'd be curious about that. I like when people have their own take on the story and make you go, I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even in my mind when I was writing it, but it actually makes sense that they would have that kind of question. And you're like, that's interesting. I like that. I like when people give you that feedback.
Yeah, totally.
It's good. How many ARC readers would you have, for this book in particular? Do you have any idea total?
I mean, I'm trying to get I tried to get a bunch. I think I've got up to 10 now. I would like to get more even, but I feel good about 10 for the moment. And I'm a small press here, I'm doing a lot of this myself, and I can only put so many hours into finding these people, and then the other side of it is giving them enough time, to read it and be able to form their opinion and put their own words down about it. So
yeah.
the closer we get to release, the harder it is for me to even seek them out, because I feel disingenuous asking them to review a book before it comes out with no time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what I usually see is, if you give people 3 to 4 months, it's okay.
Yeah.
And now we're getting
How,
it. Yeah.
you said you had a service to help you, but how else have you found readers for your book?
Oh, okay. I use I've been going on Threads a lot. There's a lot of like
Okay.
author threads now that are going around, and reader threads that are going around. So there are people that will occasionally just pop in and say, "Hey, I'm willing to read ARC copies," you know? And it's like, "Okay, well, let me look into this person, like whatever, and then I'll check in with them and see what they're feeling, if they're interested in the book in the first place." It's a little bit of a slog because they're not always there, um but the service is helpful. And I also, have some writer friends as well that I bring along sometimes, and they'll do an ARC review as well.
Okay. Sounds like a potential business idea for you to get ARC readers together and organize them and reach out and help authors find and connect with other ARC readers. It's like
Yeah.
something you could do on the side when you're free time, when you're not writing or podcasting. Right.
Yeah, if I had all that free time. Oh, man.
Yeah.
No, no.
Right.
Yeah, I want to be writing all the time. So
So 3 books in, how is CB different than our first interaction back on episode 267? How are you different now as a writer, as a human being, with your 3rd book coming out in August? Like, what's different about you now with 3 books behind you?
I mean, I think I said it about the second one, the confidence that comes with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this third book, so I'm sure I said this before with the other one too, but like this one, I guess what's different for me is this one is the core of my sci-fi universe. So I am heartened to be at this stage where I am actually, I've laid the foundation, and now the universe exists. Like, my company is called Odom's Library, and
Right.
based on the back of the book, Odom is introduced in this novel. The other two, they're not sequential. You can read them all. You can read them in whatever order you want, but if you like, if you've experienced those, they'll only add to the caliber of this novel as well. Um, and I'm not answering your question
Yeah.
directly. What's a good way to answer this? Oh, well, here's an easy one. I got married.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Right.
I got married, and Madison's been with me this whole time. She's one of the driving factors that allowed me to begin working on prose, and she's been on board the entire time with my putting these novels out on my own. In
Yeah.
fact, I think that she would have preferred that I did that to begin with, instead of when I first put the ancient ones out, trying to get agents and publishing houses, because there's like this antsy quality that comes with sitting there waiting for people to say yes or no, rather
Right.
than rather than sorting it for yourself and figuring it out and being like, I'm putting this out now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So now switch back again. Okay. Maddie makes all this happen. Without her, I have no way of feeling the confidence that I do to
Yeah.
to power through. But having a third novel that is such a foundational piece of everything that I'm trying to do gives me pride,
Yeah.
gives me another perspective on it, an outward perspective on it, that I've made it this far along in my journey as a
Yeah.
writer.
It's nice to have somebody in your corner cheering you on, encouraging you to keep writing, supporting you, and the fact that you guys are together now and you're married and woohoo, all that great stuff. That's awesome. How are you growing up as an author? Like, how are you different? Do you write anything differently than you when you did Ancient Ones? Like, what's different about your writing style or how you approach this third novel?
Yeah, this one's the most different so far. because the first two I had finished screenplays of, so I had the full outline.
Yeah.
This one, I had been working with a writing group, and we had been developing like an animated science fiction short form series, like an anthology series. And I brought them this idea for Papillon, something that had been in my mind for a long time. I presented to them as like a possible pilot for that series, and then we broke off and we all wrote our different things, and we came back and we had different like the whole perspective felt different between all three of us. None of us were really on the same page, and eventually it came to this point where we got too busy with other things. We broke apart, and I checked in. I'm like, hey, you guys are okay if I take my idea back and I do something bigger with it, right? And they were like, yeah, absolutely, that's your stuff. So I really, they're in the back of the book. I give them a thank you, um,
Nice.
but it's I had maybe a fifth of the story written in that pilot. So then I just was able to, with the prose of the novel, leap off of that and just start freeform writing basically. And I had the story in my head. So this is the one where like I knew where I was going, but I didn't have a true outline necessarily. I'm like, I want this to happen. I want to get here with the ship. I want to get this thing going over here in the middle of the story with these aliens. And then I want to come back, you know? And then I was able to explore the universe a little bit
Hmm.
more than maybe I was able to in the other novels because I didn't have such a such a hard boundary for what the story had to be.
Right. Yeah. And it wasn't sort of pre-written from a different project, adapted into your novel and tweaked. It
Exactly.
was net new from the beginning, no limits, go anywhere you want, right?
Yeah, all through the universe as far as the
Yeah.
ship would take me.
Does you feel like you've unlocked the potential for more books in the future with this third novel?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
full disclosure, we talked about this before. I'm almost done writing the sixth one, you know?
See, yeah. So the door's like wide open now for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, the Odom's Library franchise is strong.
So I'm going to see a lot of you on this show, which is exciting. You got to come back and back and back, right?
Man, I sure hope so. Well, let's get that that drink or something up in Niagara Falls, you know, and then
There you go.
maybe we could do the podcast live in the same place.
Ooh, wow. There we go. You're giving me great ideas, and I love it. This is good. I love when an author finds their voice, finds inspiration, chases their muse, as they say, the cool kids would say, and just keeps writing because it's. I've talked to authors, CB, that really struggle as a new author and just getting started and finding some ground and a foundation for their book seems to be a really hard thing. But the moment things unlock for them and the words just start coming and the story just develops and it's exciting, but it's getting past that initial foundation stage of the concept and the big idea. We have authors, that listen to the show. And some of them are struggling to get even one chapter out to get going. If you were able to sit down with them and have like a one-on-one at your local coffee shop and encourage them to form that foundation of their story so that they can be inspired and keep writing, what would you say is a good foundation for a book for a new author that's listening?
Yeah, so I mean there's a very common statement to write what you know. And I'm writing sci-fi. So like am I writing what I know? How would you as a new author write what you know in a world that's basically fantasy? You know, sci-fi fantasy fall together pretty commonly because you're just making a lot of it up. So I guess that's a very clear thing. Well, you're excited about an idea, but is it like how can you ground it for yourself? And it's a kind of a tough subject here but with Papillon 4, I begin the story from a very grounded place, even though it seems extreme. The world is overrun with garbage. I grew up with a background of my parents being hoarders. So I've always had this kind of like natural fear of accumulating too much stuff and not having anywhere to put any of it, and things just getting derelict like the spaceship does. Um, but then something happened. Um, my high school that I went to, I'm 36 going on 37. My high school that I went to back in the day was yeah, there was a shooting event there. I grew up in Florida, and my high school was Marjorie Stoneman Douglas in Parkland. You can look up this occurrence. It's pretty terrible, pretty tragic. But um, and I was looking for uh, I had a tragic event in the book already, and this was happening, or in the story already, and this happened. It really impacted my view of my hometown and the background that I had in that place. Like I knew people that were in those halls, and I knew teachers that had to hide in place and whatever. And I'm fairly certain I knew one of the security guards that was taken out. And what I gained from it in the end was how the students turned around and tried to begin a movement. And that's kind of what Papillon 4 is about, is like there is such a thing as hope born from these ridiculous tragedies. So like I did research on some of the students that came out of that, and one in particular, X Gomez. I researched how she got up on the stand and started talking about or the podium, and started talking about her lessons that one of my former teachers, my AP government teacher, had just given her information about, like the NRA on that day, and she knew exactly what to say in the moment at it as it happened, which is incredible. And um, one of the first characters that gets introduced in the background stories of Papillon 4, her name is Pauline Delgado, and I absolutely base her character on a mix of X Gomez and Amanda Gorman, the junior poet laureate, whose book I've read, and was like, I put a bunch of poetry in the early sections of Papillon. But to go back to what you're saying is like you could draw from what you know from the world around you, things that you've experienced, and you can you can you can use that to some degree to build a foundation, and then you can leap that foundation to another. Like there's not always just one thing that makes the story whole. You need a lot of good details, a lot of good true moments, things that you feel that your audience will feel. And for me that was one here. So that's I guess that's the most the easiest way that I can say that for any young author that's struggling to find their story. It's like it doesn't you can find things that turn how the story is moving from your own life, your own experience, or the world around you.
Okay. When something tragic like that happens, an event in a school that you attended, how does that impact you? Because I would think that for the people obviously that are there in the school teaching students, that school family outside in that community obviously impacted immediately. But here you are, a graduate, you're on to other things. How does an event like that interact with your memories of the school? Like, I've never really considered, to be honest, CB, how an event like that can translate outside of the context of the immediate community for the school in that moment to the alumni who that's their home school and that's their memories. How does something like that stay with you and impact you from a distance?
Yeah, that one I can tell you. It felt like at that moment the bottom dropped out. You know,
Yeah.
you always feel like you have like a sort of security blanket from your past life about things that you think will always be a certain way, and then the context of it, that the school is not a safe place, that you always thought it was a safe place,
Yeah.
changes how you kind of view other establishments around you. Is this place safe? Is that place safe? Is anything in my life as secure as I thought it was? So um, yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing, or I try not to think about it every day.
Yeah.
and
No, no. Yeah.
and I wasn't there, so
No.
there's that side of it, but it certainly had an impact on the way that I looked at the world.
Yeah. It's kind of like, in a sense, to change the context a little bit, would be like going back to the house where you grew up and the house isn't there anymore. Like it's now a different building. And all of your memories attached to that building where you lived as a child, they're gone. Or it's different, or it's not the way you remembered, right?
That's a good
And all your
metaphor.
memories are attached to that building and that location, and good memories, bad memories, but everything's attached to that, that place. And when those things change, it has an impact on you and kind of your psyche and your memories, and you're like fighting for your memories again to make them fresh. So I never really though considered, CB, like how an event in the future can impact your past. So in your book, do you kind of wrestle with a little bit of those feelings as well?
I would say so. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. In fact, I think it's a core aspect of it. A core tenet of Papillon 4 is from a future perspective, wrestling with the things that you're learning about the past or things that have
Yeah.
occurred along the way. And it's very important for AO to learn these lessons from Odom. And that's definitely an aspect of what makes this book strong.
This is exactly why I love having a podcast and talking to authors. Because for the listeners, as a reader, they're hearing this and going, oh my gosh, like I already feel like I know the context of the story. And when I'm reading, I'm anticipating being led down this path as a new reader to come and read this new book, right? So there's already a built up expectation and excitement that you're going to lead us in this direction. I don't know where it's going to go, but I know that I'm in good hands. You're going to lead me through this story. We're going to come out the other side. So I love that we get to do this together.
Oh, I agree. I agree. And there's a lot of playful stuff in Papillon 4 as well. So it's not just doom and gloom all across the board.
Yeah,
I promise. It's
good.
there is hope. There is hope in all the corners of the darkness of the universe.
Is there any other key elements to the new book that readers should be aware of as they approach the book for the first time? Anything else that's like, oh, you really need to pay attention to this part? Anything stand out?
Hmm. That's a tough question. I read the whole. You got to pay attention to the whole book.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay. There's a connectivity all the way through?
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
all the stories interact with each other. It's
Okay.
not like a series of short stories. It's you watch the trajectory of society deciding that they want to remove the garbage and send it off into space. Then you watch the ship interact with one other world and then another other world, and then you experience what those life forms go through. Yeah, and all the while you're getting Ao's perspective on it, how she's experiencing the stories.
Okay. You said the word opera when you read the back cover. What was that term?
Space opera.
Expand on that, please. I
Uh,
need to know what this means.
okay, space opera in sci-fi, it's the classic form of like 2001: A Space Odyssey, or
Okay.
so you're you're going along with events that are too big for any one human to experience all the way through.
Hmm.
You're it's it's epic on a scale that is larger than individuals can accommodate. So that's part of why it's important to stress that this is one story. It's not a bunch of short stories. It's one story. It's just the events are so large, and the way that that it lays out, it's like you have to learn about these different characters along the way, and they're not all going to make it all the way through. Most of them don't, because it's more than 1,000 years of information.
Okay. What else is a common thread across these last three novels from you? Is there like a little thread that ties them all together?
Oh yeah, yeah. Literally the foundation. Um,
Yeah. Okay.
so in the ancient ones, there is a thing called Nexus that is the reality between or beneath reality. Uh,
Okay.
and then and there's an event that occurs in that book that affects the nexus and affects the area of the earth that then connectivity much later in time, like 200 plus years from now, whereas ancient ones was 100,000 years ago. um
Hmm.
there is a canyon and a structure that that's where the business, the corpocracy exists of Clearbridge National City. Um, they have built around this canyon and built underground around and into the walls of this canyon, and that canyon existed in the ancient ones, and that canyon also exists in Papillon, and it's literally the foundation um, of the three novels.
Okay. I don't know how all this fits in your head, CB. As you're explaining all this, I'm just like, I have a hard time remembering where I put my keys. And here you are explaining these worlds and how they interact with each other, and this character plus that character, and this plot line and this story. And I'm amazed. I'm amazed hearing you explain all this to us.
Oh,
It's,
thanks.
it's outstanding.
I just hope that it comes out. It sounded like a complete thought.
No, it is. Oh, it is. And you're making me dizzy, and I love it. What about your leaning towards eco topics, the environment, climate? Why is this so important for you personally?
I think it's important for everybody.
Yeah,
It's the time that we live in where we've, in some ways, we've passed the point of no return, but we still have the opportunity to continue to look forward and try to make things better. Let it's not impossible to limit the damage.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. We might have crossed a few lines that are too far, but there's a course correction that can happen.
Mhm.
And I think through books like yours, it raises that inner consciousness that we need to talk about it more and make it more common. And I like that it's also another part of the foundation of what you're doing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And in fact, I the other novels, without giving a lot away, there's a lot of eco messaging in them as well. Um,
Okay.
but I try to do it in different ways. Like I'm going to go off world with some of that too. So
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm still laughing about the trash talk thing. That's fun. It's stuck in my head now. I
it's
like
too
that.
good, too good.
Yeah. Okay, so the books are coming. They've got more in the future. I'm excited for you for that. How much time do you devote, say, any given week or month to writing? Like you sitting there disciplined, focused on writing? How much of your day or week do you devote to this?
When I'm not when I'm not in the process of actively getting a book out there, like I'm doing with Papillon right
Yeah.
now, then I write every day.
Hmm.
I still spend a couple days as a bartender, so it's tougher on those days to write on those days. But I write every day. I make sure that I at least get an hour session in. It doesn't necessarily mean that I write for an hour, but I'm thinking about it and sitting there with the work for an hour.
Yeah.
So it's really not a huge amount of time that you need on any given day to get the thing done. But if you just make a point, for me, I just make a point of every day, like I got to sit down with it. And if I get a paragraph out, if I only get a couple of sentences out, it's okay. Some days I write 2 pages, just like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's, and they come along fairly quickly if like if you give yourself that opportunity. Um, yeah, don't, don't just because you're feeling a certain way, not sit down and be with the work on a day.
Hmm. Right. I've been talking to other authors lately, and the topic of creativity seems to find itself in creative people. So people being creative, it tends that creativity seems to find them more often because they're in that mode of writing, recording, whatever it is that you're doing to create. Just being creative in the act of doing it, writing, then the ideas seem to come more than when you're not being in a creative state. and you're just watching Netflix mindlessly. You know, it doesn't seem to come as easy as when you're actually sitting down to be disciplined and create the space to be creative. So I'm always encouraging authors and whoever's creative to find more creative windows in your days and weeks so that you do have some more inspiration. Simply that act of being creative you'll get the reward of it over time.
Yeah, it's a muscle you're exercising. You got to practice to be good at making to do it at like an NBA reference. You've got to practice that 3-pointer to hit it, you know?
Yeah. What is the perfect drink to have when reading one of your books? If you were my bartender, I'm sitting at the bar, I got your book in front of me. What am I ordering? What am I going to order that complements this book? Come on.
Oh man, I got a couple of jokes here. Jokes here. Yeah, order a painkiller.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No. I mean, I love the painkiller. For our wedding, we made 2 batch cocktails. We did painkillers and we did Negronis, and the painkillers flew out like the juice was all gone by the end. And the Negronis, like, we went through a bunch of it, but there was a lot left because it's a strong drink. You know, it's all booze. So,
there you go.
Yeah, sometimes I would sit with a Negroni and read a book. I like that a lot.
There you go. Yeah. See, so there you go. We leveraged your bartending skills as well into the conversation. We do it all here.
I even talk about booze a little bit in this book. There's a couple characters named after alcohol. There's
See, I like when an author feeds their life into their books as well. That's what makes your stuff unique compared to anybody else, right? It's you. It's who you are as the author, and all of that stuff mixed together makes you so unique. I think it's special. It's your secret sauce.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, so CB, where are we sending everybody to stay in touch with you, follow the journey, grab the books, all of that stuff? Where do you want to send them?
Yeah, my Instagram handle is at c.b.strul. I have a link tree that's Odom's Library. That is also my YouTube channel is Odom's Library. My threads is c.b.strul. My website is www.odomslibrary.com.
There you go. Like you've done this before. I think it's great, CB, to have you on the show. Congratulations on the 3rd book coming out in August. On your birthday. Good planning. Yay. And happy birthday in advance, by the way.
Thanks,
and I'm excited for you and your amazing partner and all the good things that are happening for the two of you. You guys are a great couple. I know you guys love each other really well and care for each other really well. So my best to your amazing wife as well. And give her my love and my thanks for supporting you in your journey as an author. I know you do it together, the two of you. And it's just great when you find the right person, right, who just comes alongside of you and just builds you up. So well done. You've done a lot of things right, CB, and finding her is one of the ultimate in the right choices for you.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I hope everybody out there can find somebody that does that for them.
Yeah, and I hope everyone listening that wants to be an author, be inspired by CB's journey, build that foundation, understand your author voice, and see what happens when that unlocks. And you just have this unlimited potential to chase whatever you're interested in, but have a message as well, like CB does, around eco-friendly and the environment and climate. There's something there. There's some substance to what he's writing as well. There's a lesson hidden in the story. I think that's really great, CB, that you do that and you're using that as a platform. Keep going. Don't stop. And come back, book 4. I'm waiting for you. I'll just keep the car running. Come on back anytime, okay?
Will do. Yeah. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you.
Excellent.
Love.
Everybody, yes, thank you. All the information, everybody, in the show notes for CB. I would love for you to go leave a review when you buy the first book, the second book, now the third book. Each time, leave a great review. Let everybody know why you love these books so much. CB would love to get your feedback, and it will inspire him to keep writing. Take your information, take your thoughts, and tweak what's coming down the road. I know he'd love to hear from you. And even if you want to talk trash, he'd still like to hear from you. So CB, thank you so much. Hey, thank you so much again for pressing play as you've heard, great guests on the show. And one thing you didn't hear in this conversation is what? What did you not hear? Think about it for a second. That's right. Not a single solitary commercial for a mattress or a supplement or a whatever you call it. No. Why? Because we don't want to break up the conversation with commercials. So the fact that you're still here means that you are a fan of the show, I'm assuming. So if you want to help to keep the podcast going and to make me feel really happy, all I really care about is coffee. Okay? I just got to be honest. I love coffee. I'm drinking one right now. It's starting to get cold. I need to warm it up. Helping us with our Buy Me a Coffee link over at livingthenextchapter.com and also in the show notes helps kind of keep the lights on around here. Remember, I'm doing this for free. I'm paying for everything. So I would love to have a little coffee donation, even $5 kind of fills up my cup. And I would love to enjoy a coffee from you. So if you're interested, again, thank you for listening. But you can use our Buy Me a Coffee link and fill up the cup. Thanks for being here.